Hello everyone, Argsy here. Welcome back to Elk Mountain Mining. We've gone down here to the gravel mine and we have picked up the JCB and we've picked up the log forks. We're going to give logging a go. I know we talked about it in the last episode and there's a few good suggestions that came out of that and I've just decided let's give it a whirl, see how we can get on. If we succeed, then it's going to be a good episode. If we fail, it might make some entertaining episode and will be a lesson not to do it again. But on here, and this is one thing I'd actually been waiting for, this is the Timber Jaw by the Farm Sim game, FSG, and a group from there, Devar, I think, is one of the main people there. They have a great bot which we use on our Discord server to keep track of our multiplayer servers, who's online and whatnot, but this is a mod they have made, and I had seen it coming, and I'd been waiting for it to be released, and it is out now, so we've gone and changed that out and put it on our JCB, which we had down here. This was always going to be our little jack of all trades, do anything loader. So we're going to head over to the forest on the other side where we've got some land to clear for a local farmer. Well, I said last time, he's not a farmer yet because he doesn't have any land to farm. And he's found some cheap forest and he wants it cleared and ready to try and turn into some fields. So we've been tasked with clearing that land for him. So we're going to jump in the truck here. We'll get this taken over the other side. We've got some other equipment up at the mine site, which we need to get down there as well. So we'll get everything mobilized, get it over to where we are working, and we'll make a start on getting some trees cut down. So we made it over to the other side of the map, and we're just turning off the main road here and heading up into the hills. Now I'm hoping that we're not going to run into any more trouble with this trailer. I do know it's got quite low clearance. I do have it raised as high as it will go there at the front. So hopefully we can make it up these rougher dirt roads without striking any problems. At least the wheel loader is not too heavy, and if we had to drive it up we could. But we do have this one bridge here over the waterfall. We've already checked it out, it is fine. We'll just slowly negotiate our way across here and carry on up further into the hills, further up to a bit of a plateau up on the top edge, and an area this farmer's identified as being potential for some good clear levelish fields. So we'll carry on and go and take a look at what he's picked out. Alright, well here we are arriving at our staging area. Now you can see we've already got our processing unit, a Rotney H21D there. That was part of the DLC pack for FS19 and has made its way into 22, which is nice to see. So we're just going to unload here rather than going into the grass. Don't want to get the truck stuck or anything like that. So we'll just get this trailer unhooked, disconnected, and we'll get the truck. We'll get the loading there off. We'll be able to make a start on getting some trees felled, and we'll be able to send the truck here off up to the mine and pick up some of the other equipment we need to get brought back down. And we'll go have a look at that too soon. But I want to make a start on cutting these trees down just to see how we get on. So get this all unloaded and send the truck on its way again. Alright, there we go. We've got the truck all hooked up and they are off again. Now obviously you have set up an auto drive course to get us over here. There's a little loop which runs up here into the grass, which is our staging area, and we've got a two-way course actually here, the blue line. So just drove it once and trucks and vehicles can go either way in either direction. Now I'm hoping to be able to use the processing unit here to cut down some trees into some good lengths. I'm aiming for about 8 meters I think, and then use the grab here on the front of the loader and use that to pick them up. We've got some other equipment which might help us a little bit more once that gets down here. We'll get that back on the truck, and we've obviously got a couple of logging trucks to come down here to load up, and we'll be running those all the way down to the train and trying to get them loaded on the train actually rather than selling to the sawmill. We'll take a look at the prices, although in fact I'm not sure if we can actually see pricing for wood. It's a bit hit and miss, so we might try and sell it on the train and see how much we can get for that. But I'm going to jump here into the Rotney. Now I've run into the same issue everyone else has been having since the update and have lost a number of keybinds, which does mean we're going to be a little bit hit and miss with whether I can get this to work exactly how I want it to, and whether it still has the settings I have had set up before, or whether I need to go through and change those. So we're just going to work off on the default settings we have at the moment and see how we go. But first things, we need to bring up the menu and check our cut length. So we're set at 6, we're going to bump that up to 8. Now we also have another mod called manual wood cutting installed, and that means when the tree goes through the processing unit, it delimbs it, Before installing that mod, it would delimit and then cut it to length. Now I need to press the cut button again to cut it. It'll delimit, stop, then cut after I press it again, rather than cutting it all in one go. So if you want to delim and then position the log slightly differently to cut it and put it in a neat pile, that makes things a lot easier. But I'm going to head on over here. We've got a nice flat bit of land sort of heading back this way. There's actually quite a nice little bit of a hill up in there, but it's reasonably flat the whole way through here. And this is where the farmer's wanting to set up. So let's see if we can get this up and running. And get that turned on. Obviously got our arm there. We'll move this out. See if we can get that all hooked up. Move a little bit closer. There we go. I wonder if I can get that lowered down. There we go. Perfect. Look at that. Almost like it was meant to. We're just going to back up a little bit, swing it out to the side here. Now we should be able to press that to cut it to, or take it to 8 meters, and press it again to cut it. Same again, delim that one, again cut it, and that should help us try and get things in a bit of a neater pile. And there we go, 8 meters works very well to get 3 lengths of log out of the one of those trees. We've got 3 different sizes of trees in here. We've got a medium one, like the one there on the right, a slightly taller one, like the one there on the left, and then if we just pan around here, can't actually see anywhere we are, but there is some quite small trees which are not really worth cutting, but that's going to be quite a good start, even if I do say so myself. Let's see if we can get this one done. There we go, lower down, maximise the cut. Perfect. Up again. Alright, let's see if we can get this one positioned and over that same pile, so that when we come to loading, we're going to be in a little bit better position. Now, the one thing that these do lack is the ability to pivot the head. Makes it a bit hard in this position to try and get things exactly how we want them. There we go, we'll just cut that there anyhow. It's close. This one looks like it might be one of the slightly shorter ones, is it? Oh no, it's going to be the same length. Alright, there we go. Well, I think with that all working, we're just going to crack into a little bit of a time lapse of some cutting here, getting some trees cut down and cleared, see how much of this we can get through in the next, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe of real time. We'll condense that down into a much shorter clip, and we'll see how many trees and logs we can get going here. Alright, well that's a bit more than 20 minutes of logging, and we've made a decent dent over here, and it's actually worked out quite well. While we've got a whole heap of files all around, they are pretty nicely lengthed, and I'm hoping I can go and grab those forks and we can get most of them all picked up in one go, rather than having to come back and forth. So we'll carry on. We'll just get these last couple of trees cut down, I think, because there are 4 or 5 just here, and then we're pretty much at the bottom of this bank. So we can get all these taken out. We'll be sitting pretty well, having cleared out a good chunk of this end of the land for the client, and then we'll shoot back down to the mine and get the other equipment all set up and on the back of a truck to come down here as well. Alright, there we go. That is about us done. Last tree. Let's have a look around. We've made it all the way over here towards these autumn looking trees, and we've got a bit more of a hill heading up in there, so I think that is going to be a pretty good spot to stop cutting, go and find some other equipment up at the mine site and get that brought down here. So far so good though, so far so good. Here we are back at the mine site, and taking a quick look at what we have here. So in front of us is the Prinoth, the Raptor 300. It has the mulching head on the front. That should do a pretty good job getting rid of all our stumps. That is the plan anyhow. It's a pretty mean looking machine actually. It's quite fun to drive. Quite enjoyed that. Now next to that is FS Miner's Fast Track Edit, which has the mining cage or forestry cage there over the top of it. We've paired that on the front here. We've got it's actually a snowplow, the Samaz snowplow on the front, but we thought that might work quite well for pushing some logs if we need to. And then on the back is the fantastic Tajfun, the logging winch, which works a real treat. I really enjoy using this for logging, and we'll see whether we actually need it or not. It might just be good to have as a backup if we can't get the logs out from somewhere. Then over here we've got a couple of logging trailers. Got the 2 of the same lizards here. I'm hoping that we can get these loaded up with these 8-meter logs front and back. And on the front, a rather new looking Kenworth. This is the K108. This is by Carver. Carver's was responsible for the T900 Legend series that we have, running the tailings and sand out of the gold mine down there. And he sent this through. I know he's made it available on his Facebook page, I think. I'll see if I can remember to leave a link in the description. But a very nice looking truck. And in fact, while we're looking at it, let's take a quick squiz in the shop and I'll show you some of the options on it. So if you can see there, we've got the T900s on the right hand side. One is the tipper, the other is the prime mover. Now we've got the K108. So obviously our tipper version and the prime mover. We take a quick look through here. You can see we've got some different options for the exhausts. Obviously the taller ones make a little bit more sense when you look at the cabin config, because we can go from a flat roof like we have, start to add some deflectors, an aerodyne, spoilers, deflectors, boilers, party hat on the top as well. And that obviously requires the taller exhausts, and ditto with the air filters. You can't quite see all the options, but if we go through, there is an air filter which will sit up there nice and high. So that's good. Road train or oversized signs on the front. You've got options for lights across the front there as well. The visor, stock, drop visor with beacons, stock with beacons, bumpers, a couple of different options there. We've gone for the bull bars, seeing we're up in the forest. Tanks, square or round tanks, and then a whole lot of different options for the engine setup. For the wheels and stock frames, we can go for spiders, Alcoa spiders, and then there's a few options for colours, and actually quite a wide range there. You can change the frame, you can change the cab, the frame, you can change the fenders. I'm just going for silly colours so you can see it right down to the interior, and even some good options there for that. So nice looking truck. Now we've obviously got 2 of them. One is the dark, more metallic black, and one's a little bit more faded, so we can tell the difference between which is which. But that is both of those. So what are we going to do? We are going to try, I'm hoping we can fit these both on the back of the low loader. If not, we can probably put the Prinoth on the back of the gooseneck there and pull that up with the ram. And we'll send the 2 trucks up there, also using some auto drive. So let's get this all loaded up and on its way. Alright, we're all loaded up and convoy is rolling out. So we've got the Prinoth had to go on the back of the gooseneck there. Got the JCB sitting on the low loader and the 2 logging trucks. So hopefully they're all going to make it down there without any hassles, and we'll see them on the other end. So let's meet you down there and get everything unloaded and start getting some logs onto the back of some trucks. Alright, we've got everything down here. Trucks over here, parked up. We've got the JCB off the back of the low loader. Low loader is just parked over on the side of the road down there, out of the way. But we are going to jump straight here into the JCB and see about getting some of these logs picked up. Test out this new log grab we haven't used yet, and see how it goes with picking them up, see how many we can get, and then see how it works with loading these two trucks. Now, I'm hoping, in fact, before we go anywhere, I'm going to test and see if I can actually get these grabs in between the bunks. That was my hope, and it does look like they fit. That's perfect. So they'll be able to fit in there, so we'll be able to unload things. Can we lift up and over? We can. Here we go. That was two of the tests. Obviously the hard part is rolling, get any logs off the end, but we don't need to overload these trucks. So let's go ahead and see about getting some of these picked up. Alright, so I thought I'd come and start with a smaller, tidier pile than some of the other ones. So let's just see. What I normally do is I'll get that into position, give it a little bit of a tip, and then use the forks to pull everything back on. But that's grabbed those really well. That is quite possibly the best grab I've ever used in Farming Simulator. That's done a fantastic job. See, now they're actually floating around a little bit. Let's see if we can pick up a few more at the same time, because they're not very tight in there as they are. So we'll just slowly let those few slide out, and so long as we are roughly in the middle, pretty even, that one's going to roll away. Let's see what happens if we can get these ones picked up as well. Look at that, they may not be sitting in there perfectly, a little bit twisted, but this would be one of the first times I've managed to pick up quite so many logs in one go. That is a great little grab. Now let's see if we can get them loaded up here into one of these trucks. I'm hoping we're not actually going to be too long. These trucks might have been better off with 6 meter. Now this weight, this is pretty much on the limit for this loader, I've noticed. If we lift this up and over, what I'm hoping is if I twist around, we're not quite, we went quite in the middle. I'm hoping if we get here into the middle of these, in fact this truck looks like it would be much better with 6 meter logs. Lesson learnt. But there we go, if we hopefully come down in here, knock it around a little bit, go the grab, and I'm hoping we can just back out, and it's sitting there pretty neatly in that bunk. That is delightful. It is actually really, really nice to use. So we'll just strap these over here so they don't go wandering around, as logs tend to do. It is going to be a little bit hard to get any on the back with those lengths. We might have to change that for any more we do, cut them down to 6s, and it looks like we'll be sending some part loads down to the train station with only 8 meters. That's alright, we'll make do with what we can. So let's go and pick up a few more and get some of these trucks loaded and on their way. While they're on their way down to the train station to unload, we'll be able to tidy up here and carry on cutting a few more trees down. Alright, we've got a couple of good loads there. The second truck I loaded from the centre. I'm going to use the edge of the bunks, the front and back one, rather than trying to get two different loads on there, and that's certainly loaded up a whole lot nicer. Probably a little bit more on it, but the biggest issue I'm having is just the reach height and trying to tip down on this. Now that problem won't happen down at the trains, and you'll see why in just a second. But I think, got those loaded up, another strap over there. Let's send these on their way down. I'm going to ride along with auto drive and see how they go following the course, getting down to where they need to be, and then we'll get down there and get them unloaded and get them possibly even loaded onto the train. See how that goes. But let's pull up the auto drive and head on down to the train depot. Alright, well, we've made it down here, not without our share of issues. The load was a little bit unbalanced and we did roll the truck at one stage, so we had to use a little bit of super strength. I think this truck might have been a little bit more stable. I had limited the speed for auto drive too. We were set to 40 miles per hour, bumped it down to 30 for the later part, and you would have still seen it was a little bit hairy on a couple of the corners. But down here, said we wouldn't have a problem with the loading and unloading. We've got FS Miner's Volvo. Now, the beauty of the way he has set up all his wheel loaders is that we'll take a standard wheel loader attachment. Now, does it look right? No, it doesn't. It's not quite in the right position, but it does work, and that is the key thing. And of course, what is good about this is we can load straight from there onto the train. Now we've got the train patiently waiting up there. So we'll go and bring this down, get it set up into position so we can unload straight off the trucks and put them onto the back of the train. Now the other thing you'll notice as we drive down here is we have tailings, sand and limestone in the train as well. We were running out of storage for sand, so I took the chance to load some of that in. Now we're going to have to try and figure out exactly where we need to stop for this. Probably right about there. Try and load into that front log carriage. In fact, we might have to go back just a touch. It's very hard to judge because of how far away it is. Let's leave that there if we can. Get it to stationary. Perfect. Right, let's go and try this Volvo out and get it unloaded. We'll get these straps undone. 1, 2, 3. Now, big test is going to be, can we get in here and pick all of these up in one go or not? Doesn't look like it. We're going to have to try and leverage some of these off without knocking the trailer over. We shouldn't have it turned on the angle it is. That's making it just that little bit harder to get in there and get them grabbed. Alright, there we go. We've got a few off the back here. As you can see, a much higher reach with this wheel loader than we did with the other one. Get these positioned here on the train. And tip these in here, no worries either. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. A little bit messy, but that's the physics for you. Right, let's go and see about getting these last few off, and then we'll see about getting the other truck unloaded. There we go. 2 grabs. Now it looks like we're going to lose some of these. Didn't close very well on those ones. It's the first time we've actually lost any. So I'm not going to complain too much about that. Alright, let's get these dumped in here. This extra height is fantastic. Right, unhook that. We'll get these couple picked up off the ground. We'll get the truck out of the way and get the other truck in here and unload it as well. Alright, last couple of logs here. Didn't quite get them all off in 2 goes. But you can see we've managed to fill up pretty much 1 bunk in the train. So on that basis, we've got 3 carriages there. We should be able to do this 6 times. 2 on each. I think with slightly different size logs or a little bit better stacking, we might be able to get a little bit closer to one, but that there is about it. The train does seem to be moving a little bit on its own. I'm not sure quite what's going on there. I've had to adjust it once already and stop it, but let's see. Yeah, last one. Here we go. Not quite in correctly. Let's see if we can just correct that, and then we'll see if we can get a strap over it too. I'm not sure if there is any straps on the train or not. Alright, all loaded up. Let's come over here, and here we go. There's some straps on here, so we'll get those all tied down and secured on the train. And there we go. That is our first couple of loads of logs. Now, I'm just looking at the time. I reckon, while we've got the train here, it is fully loaded with other product. We're going to go and run this down, get it sold, and make that a good spot to wrap up for today's episode. So we'll jump down into the front of the train, and we should be able to look in the economy and figure out how much we actually made for selling wood, because we haven't sold any logs yet, and it should pop up as a separate item in the economy screen. There we go. We do want to sell the loaded goods on the train at Cheyenne. We'll hit yes there. $47,000 worth of sold wood. I'm not sure what happened to selling the other product. We'll have to have a look at that when the train comes back around. But 2 loads, 47 grand. That is a fantastic money maker. We'll be back up in the woods. We are going to be back up there clearing more trees. If we can make 47 grand off 2 truckloads, imagine what we can make on a full train load. We'd be, what, $300,000? Is it possible? Who knows? But that is going to be a good challenge for next time. I've actually enjoyed getting back into the logging, so we will be back again up there clearing more land. Got some things to do in the mine as well, and some new things to look at, but we'll save that for next time. So as always, I hope you've enjoyed that episode. Something a little bit different, but something I did promise we would get into at some stage. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.